How's it going, YouTube? Just entered into YouTube, and now we're on podcast. Find me on Apple Podcasts and YouTube. So let's just get to unadulterated thoughts on the NFL Combine, everything that is the NFL Combine. Let's get to our unadulterated thoughts on the Combine on yesterday, but what the Giants want to do. And I'm sorry, I'm going to get right into the Giants. Sometimes you got to give the people what they want. I have a lot of Giants fans here on my show. Want to thank my Twitter fans for, a lot of James Morgan positivity yesterday. Got 10 retweets, which was cool. That's actually the highest I've ever gotten a retweet, and that's not even that much. I'm not really bragging. So let's get to the Giants, okay? I'm going to be unadulterated, which means that it's just going to come out, It's just going to be unfiltered, which means that it's just going to flow and it's just going to come out, just like you're getting a soda at the soda machine. So I don't think the Giants are taking Isaiah Simmons in the draft. And the reason why I don't think the Giants are not taking Isaiah Simmons is I think that Isaiah Simmons' personality, I think he's a nice kid, but I think that Isaiah Simmons' personality, I just think he's a little goofy. And you look at Chason of LSU, and Chason is a guy that I think the Giants, I just think that the Giants and Chason are more of a fit than Isaiah Simmons. And I think Simmons is a nice kid. This isn't even a slight on his character. I just think that Simmons, Joe Judge, he wants guys that are going to be like Marines. So that's why I think that Isaiah Simmons, to the Giants, Isaiah Simmons is silly. Isaiah Simmons likes to have fun. Is Isaiah Simmons going to be serious? I think that the Giants are going to like him, and you're never going to hear this out of anybody, but I like Chason's personality just a ton. I think that Chason, I think that his personality is what attracts him to the Giants. I actually think that Chason, in certain instances, his personality might not be right for, say, like a Panthers or, say, like a very, young up-and-coming team. But Chason is a guy who's very unselfish, very, very outwardly confident in his abilities, kind of like DeAndre Baker. And his answer during the Combine interview and with Mike Florio was absolutely brilliant. Chason said that he is down to play special teams. He said, I'm the most valuable player in this draft because I can pass rush, I can cover, and I'm very versatile in every respect. I'm very unselfish. I'm a tremendous leader, and I'm a 3-language guy. I'm a 3-tool guy. I can play special teams. I can rush the passer. I can cover, and I can also be vocal and be a leader. And I think that the New York Giants are going to be very attracted to Chason. Isaiah Simmons is great. He lights up a room. I would love to have him on my podcast. He's a very, very nice, kind guy, okay? So I don't want people to go in the comments and say that I don't like Isaiah Simmons. I just think that for the Giants specifically, with how serious Joe Judge is, Joe Judge can border sometimes on being the bad cop, on kind of being, he has to walk that fine line where he's not being overly harsh or where he's not being overly just like drill sergeant-like with stuff. He's not proclaiming starters. Shermer's a nicer guy than Joe Judge, but Joe Judge is going to get things done, and that's why I'm much more of a Joe Judge fan. I think that there are two guys that the Giants really like in this draft, and I'm just predicting because that's the point of YouTube and that I don't have inside sources. And if I had inside sources, I definitely would not be speaking to you guys publicly about this. And it's not an offense to you guys. It's that if the Giants ever entrusted me with draft intel, you can't talk. Then you work for the team. Or if I worked at a big network and I had a relationship with a GM, I'm gonna phrase things very carefully then, and I'm gonna try to get you to paint a picture. So The Giants, I just believe, so this is just off my inclination, nobody else's. I think that Kenneth Murray not only is a spectacular football player, but he's violent, which is exactly what Joe Judge likes, and it's exactly what I like. So it aligns kind of with what I like. He's very physical, he runs downhill, and he slashes people. So I really, really like that about Kenneth Murray. He's a slasher and he'll flat out just deck people. I think Chason has that exact same sort of pedigree. K'Lavon Chason out of LSU. Chason can cover. Murray is going to be fast, but Murray, I do question if he's going to be able to cover tight ends as well as like a Chason. But a dream scenario would be to get those two guys in your front seven, to get Chason who can rush the passer and to get Kenneth Murray. You then have Dexter Lawrence and you re-sign Leonard Williams with B.J. Hill and Dalvin Tomlinson. Your D-line is going to be absolutely stacked. And I think that the Giants are taking a page out of San Francisco's playbook. And I would like to see the Giants built like the 49ers. I want to see the Giants just stack the deck with like 8, really awesome pass rushers because it's cold physical football. And that's what Shermer didn't get. Shermer was soft. Ben McAdoo was West Coast, and Ben McAdoo was really soft. So Joe Judge is going to have hard-nosed football, and that is exactly what I want the New York Giants to represent, is I want the Giants to get after the passer. The Giants are linked to Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney can be known as a guy that sometimes has an inconsistent motor, and he does get hurt sometimes. So maybe in terms of work ethic, Joe Judge would have to get the most out of him. Now, I love Sean Spence. I think Sean Spence is probably my favorite coach that the Giants have hired. Sean Spence is a guy that I would love to work with every day. He gets to the facility early, he motivates, he has a great sense of humor, and the guy is a flat-out rock star. He's a beast. He is rock solid, and he's fun. And he worked with James Franklin. He developed Carl Nassib. So I think Carl Nassib is a possibility for the Giants as well on the cheap. And I think that he can get the most out of Jadeveon Clowney. I think he can get the most out of X-Man, O'Shane Ximines. And I am really excited to see what Sean Spence does with this. I'm excited to see what he does with this team. So the Giants are looking at Jadeveon Clowney. If they have Clowney and Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence, this team is going to be absolutely stacked. I also love the fact that Jadeveon Clowney is an enemy of the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't root for injuries. And I don't think Clowney is a malicious guy like he meant to injure Carson Wentz. I just think he was playing through to the whistle. Carson Wentz was a runner. But the fact that Jadeveon Clowney is cocky, the fact that he it really takes a lot of pride in beating teams, and the fact that, he has a hatred for the Eagles and the Eagles fan base has a hatred towards him. If you're an enemy of my enemy, you are certainly welcome to my party anytime. And that's why Jadeveon Clowney is a guy that I think is so attractive, because he has just those rare traits. He's 27 years old, and he's a flat-out killer, and he'll attack the run in the pass game. And then if you then get Chase on, you then have Leonard Williams and Dexter on the inside, you're not going to be able to double team anybody. So then you're getting one-on-ones all over the field, and then you have Sean Spence coaching up these guys. And maybe you get a Carl Nassib as well with X-Man, O'Shane Ximines. I even forgot to mention the guy that had the most sacks on the dang team last year, and that is Marcus Golden. So I am a Giants fan, and I am extremely, extremely excited about the possibilities of the draft. But you may be thinking, Spencer, why are you going on about Chason and Kenneth Murray if the Giants have the number 4 overall pick? And this is where I connect every single dot here. One, I don't think that Simmons, he's kind of a jack of all trades, but is he going to be elite at something? He played in the ACC. He's a track star, so he is like a Fred Warner type, and I do love the way that he plays. I think that, in interviews, he's a super nice guy, but I wonder if he's that serious team first guy. And he probably is. And at Clemson, I don't think that it's going to be hard for people to get that information out of Isaiah Simmons. And my job right here is not to slight Isaiah Simmons. It's just to be very honest on this podcast. And I even think Isaiah Simmons could very well be a really good player in the NFL. It's just, is he a fit? You have to look at fit and you have to look at team, not attributes, personality, because some outgoing personalities are welcomed places. So I'm just coming to you as a narrator, kind of. I don't have a personal bias against Isaiah Simmons, really. I really don't. But I like Chason and Kenneth Murray just as much. And if I had the number 4 overall pick, the New York Giants, okay, the dream scenario is something that I think is very plausible. Joe Burrow goes number 1. Number 2, the Redskins stick with Dwayne Haskins. Now, there are reports coming out from guys who work at Fox Sports and guys who work around the NFL that Haskins did not grasp the playbook that well last year. And the thing about Haskins is, yes, Haskins had his own draft party where he charged people $50 in order to attend the draft party. I do like Daniel Jones as my quarterback more than Dwayne Haskins. From a work ethic standpoint, from a leadership standpoint, I am a Daniel Jones fan, and I liked when the Giants selected Jones and not Dwayne Haskins. So Dwayne Haskins has a big arm, but is he mobile enough? And is he going to be a guy that's going to lead you, is he a guy that you're comfortable passing up on Tonga Vailoa for? Because Tonga Vailoa is an absolute phenom. And if his medicals check out, I really think that the Redskins, if I was running the Redskins, I would, if the medicals checked out, I would take Tonga Vailoa. And that's not even an offense to Dwayne Haskins. It's that Tonga Vailoa is that special of a quarterback that you're passing on Tonga Vailoa and you're passing on Justin Herbert, both of who I think are light years better than Dwayne Haskins. I even think Tonga Vailoa is going to be better than Daniel Jones if he's healthy. But I think Daniel Jones is still a very good quarterback, where I look at Haskins and I have real doubts about his ability to play because I just think his pocket mobility is such a question. Leadership is a question. All of this comes into play. Taking selfies, after the game, it might not be a big deal, but that stuff can add up. And again, Jones is just so much more mobile. Jones had I just look at Daniel Jones and I just think he's a really good quarterback. But so the Redskins, let's get back to our initial point here. If the Redskins end up taking Chase Young at number 3, the Lions would then trade their pick, because I don't think the Lions are in love with anybody. The Lions then trade with Miami, and Miami selects Tonga Vailoa. Okay, the guy that they've coveted, the guy that they've tried to tank for. So then they really have been successful in everything that the Dolphins have done. Okay, then number 4 comes up on the board. And there is going to be one team in particular, several teams are going to want Herbert. You're going to have the LA Chargers, but they're at number 6. Okay, that's a very good draft position, but for the Chargers to move up from number 6 to number 4, they're only going to give you probably a second rounder maybe next year, because the swapping of 2 picks isn't all that significant. Even though it's first round value, you're only swapping 2 picks. So the Giants would definitely get Chase on. They would definitely get Epinesa. And they would probably, at number 5, then the Lions, there's a chance that the Lions would either select Simmons, but listen, if you love Derek Brown, you have Derek Brown and Chase on. There is not that big of a difference to me between Simmons and Chason and Kenneth Murray. I personally view Kenneth Murray and Chason as better than Simmons anyway. So I'm not on the Simmons at 4 train. I'm not. I'll support what the Giants do, and I think that Simmons, it does have great potential in this league, but I don't think he's going to be that incredibly special. And I think that the other 2 guys are going to be, if better, just as good. Kenneth Murray and K. Lavon Chason. Lavon Chason's probably my favorite player right now in the draft, and then Kenneth Murray as well. So I think that the Giants are leaning Chason, and I'm leaning Chason personally. So at 6, then, you're not going to get back the compensation that's all that great. You're still going to land a good player, but you still maybe get a second-rounder in your bag. So that's not even that bad. It looks like Carolina's sticking with Cam Newton, which is fine. You then have the Indianapolis Colts at 13, and I believe that the Colts at 13 really like Justin Herbert as well. I think the Jordan Love stuff is all smoke, and I don't think that Ballard would be that obvious with his intent because he's one of the most savvy GMs in all of the NFL. This is the team that has been very quiet, that has been flirting with Tom Brady, and this is a team that I think even if they signed Tom Brady would be a perfect trade asset with the New York Giants, and one that I would do in a second. I think Oakland is our perfect trading partner. Mike Mayock and Dave Gettleman. Oakland has 12-19 in this upcoming draft. So the New York Giants can then trade number 4 to Oakland and get 12-19 back, and then maybe a third, because you're getting 2 mid-round good first-round picks. And this draft class is absolutely stacked. So I look at Epinesa. Chason and Murray are my 2 picks, but say that you get Chason at 12 and say Kenneth Murray goes earlier, which Kenneth Murray's now sliding towards the back half of the first round, and if he has a good combine date, he could be in jeopardy of getting picked. But I look at Chason at 12, and I think Chason would be great. Now, if Chason is off the board, you then just get an elite-level pass rusher, a guy with high-level intelligence, and a guy who's very serious, a very different personality than Simmons. Again, they're both fine personalities, right? But this guy, I'll tell you, his name is from Iowa. His name is A.J. Epinesa from Edwardsville, Illinois. Edwardsville, Illinois is rural Illinois. It ain't Chicago. It's 3 hours south of Chicago. So that means that you're really in the rural. He's rural. Okay, he might even be from a Samoan background. He has a lot of family out in San Diego, California. The guy has discipline. His father played, I think, in the NFL. He's been coached up by Kirk Ferentz at Iowa. You look at Iowa and you look at success, whether it's James Daniels, George Kittle, C.J. Beathard. Iowa is a place, even Hawkinson is a really good player. Iowa churns out NFL caliber talent. Desmond King, Iowa is a place that is an NFL factory, especially for linemen. And that is why I'm going A.J. Epinesa. He's a track star. He's going to run great at the 40. So the point is, if you get 12-19, that's a dream come true for the Giants, because then you get 2 unbelievable great defensive players, which I'd go Epinesa. I would go Kenneth Murray and Chason, lock down the linebacker position. You then maybe have Clowney on top of that. Chason can rush the passer, has speed, like a D Ford style player if he even puts on more weight. And then you have Kenneth Murray, who's like a Luke Kuechly type of player, who's a freaking beast at the middle linebacker position, like a modern day Brian Urlacher. And that's a dream come true for a Giants fan, is to get 2 linebackers that are absolutely studly. Then you look at free agency. I think the Giants are going to get Carl Nassib in free agency. Kyle Van Noy's a little bit older. And again, we just got rid of Alec Ogletree. So again, I'm choosing Chason for sure. Chason's my number one guy. I mean, listen to Chason do an interview, okay? You listen to Chason do an interview, you're going to absolutely love Kayla Von Chason. You're going to love his confidence. You're going to love everything that he's about. You're going to love his leadership. Even after the national championship game, Kayla Von Chason said he was disappointed because his defense didn't play as well as they wanted to, and they shut Clemson down to 20 points. That is everything you need to know about Chason. He is an alpha and a very, very good leader. This linebacker class is filthy good. You also have Patrick Queen, who's a linebacker, but I like Kenneth Murray and I like Chason a lot. I think Chason could end up being one of the best players in the entire draft. Furthermore, if Miami then wants to go up to 5, if for some reason the Redskins select Tonga Vailoa, the Detroit would stay at 3 and would take Chase Young. That means the Herbert sweepstakes would take on another realm, which would be incredible. Or you end up getting Chase Young at 4. So no matter what, Burrow, Tua, and Chase Young, you have Burrow, Tua, Chase Young, and Herbert. Those are probably going to be your top 4 picks in this upcoming draft in some kind of fashion. And I like that Dave Gettleman is open to possibly trading out of that spot at number 4. I like that he's finally open to it. Joe Judge had a spectacular press conference. I love everything that he's been saying. I don't think that our cap money is going to be allocated to Tom Brady. I just think the Giants are doing their due diligence. Even though you want to improve that position, and Tom Brady right now is better than what Daniel Jones is in a one-year scenario to win a Super Bowl, I would take Tom Brady next year if all money was equal. But the fact is, by putting Brady in there, Daniel Jones would then have another mentor. You're then stunning his growth, which it just has a lot of negatives. And Tom Brady, the amount of money that Tom is going to have, it's not necessary at all. Maybe even Jones can be just as good as Tom Brady. There's not that much of a difference. I wouldn't necessarily love it, but again, I think Tom Brady and Jones would compete. And after this year, Brady would, maybe Brady this year, next year. You're just trying to win at this point. So if Brady goes to the Giants, it's not going to be the most sad thing in the world. It'll just be interesting to see if Daniel Jones can continue to hang in there and develop. But again, Joe Judge believes in competition. So with Joe Judge and the Giants, I guess everything is anew. But I don't think the Giants would take Tom Brady. That would be a shocker if the Giants took Tom. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Tom could go to maybe Dallas, maybe the Chargers, Tennessee, or probably maybe even back to New England. The LA Raiders are a possibility, the Vegas Raiders. So I don't think that the Giants are going to do that. But if that happens, then that'll be very, very interesting. All right, so I covered the Giants, what I want them to do. Then in the second round for the New York Giants, Denzel Mims out of Baylor, to me, represents a Plexico Burress-like player. At 6'3", he can really move, and he has great subtleties to his game that I really like. Like he can put his big paw on you and kind of just like guide you in a way that where it doesn't get called, little push-offs, little nuances to create space, to create separation. And he would be a guy. You have Darius Slayton, who's already fast. You're going to have Golden Tate and Shepard back in the mix. You're going to have Caden and Evan Ingram there. So Denzel Mims could be a deep ball receiver, but also a really good red zone guy. I think that it's a possibility in the second round. I think Ben Barch out of Little Minnesota. If he's around, maybe he slips to round 3, Benjamin Barch. That would be a great pick for the Giants in round 3. He's a former tight end who has athleticism as a tight end, but would go. He would go maybe in round 3. Chase Claypool is another weapon. Now, I look at Chase as very similar to Evan Ingram, so I don't think that the Giants are going to end up selecting him, but he is a matchup nightmare. Jalen Reagor out of TCU. Then you could start to look at either your line. After you go defense in round 1, you can then start to look for like maybe game-breaking players. If you want to get Clyde Edwards-Helaire and have like a Frank Gore to your Saquon Barkley, that would be something because you are going to be running the football a lot. One of these linemen, maybe Becton from Louisville, maybe he slips outside of round 1 because maybe they look at him as too much of a project. Maybe the guy Josh Jones from Houston will be there in round 2 as well. There are going to be really good players that are going to be there in round 2. So let me just make sure that the Giants have round 2. I guess that could be considered a little bit bad if I just blatantly got the draft picks messed up. So the Giants draft picks. Here we go. 2020 mock draft from Giants.com. Mel Kiper. Mel Kiper says Isaiah Simmons. Jeremiah says Becton, okay? Jerry Jeudy, Okudah. I don't really want Okudah. I'll tell you, CeeDee Lamb is the best wide receiver in this draft because CeeDee Lamb is like Hopkins. He's going to fight off of you. He's going to high point the football. Great subtleties. His cutting ability, his size, he has the complete package. And instead of just Henry Ruggs just blowing you away with speed, CeeDee Lamb actually has cutting ability, runs the entire route tree, can catch deep balls, can make underneath plays, very hard to tackle. CeeDee Lamb is an elite Pro Bowl caliber, DeAndre Hopkins-like, absolute freak, incredible wide receiver. I look at Jerry Jeudy then, and I look at Jeudy as a better Calvin Ridley. So Jeudy is going to be a really, really talented and great wide receiver. Jeudy reminds me a little bit of Diggs, a little bit of Thielen. He's going to be a Pro Bowler. He's going to be a really good player. He's the second best receiver that I have. And then I have Justin Jefferson, number 3. I look at Jefferson really being complete, really special player, doesn't have really any holes to his game. I'm trying to really think of the comparison with Jefferson in the NFL in terms of a wide receiver. I'm going to say, though, that Ruggs is good, but more like Tyler Lockett. I'll say that Jefferson has more size than Deebo Samuel. So I'm not going to say that Jefferson is Deebo Samuel. I'm going to say a little bit of Amari Cooper in Jefferson's game. Man, just a solid wide receiver. Really good wide receiver. And Denzel Mims has a little Kenny Golladay to him. So Denzel Mims, a little Plexico, a little Kenny Golladay, a little Keenan Allen. I like Denzel Mims as well. Jalen Reagor, again, a little Tyler Lockett. Again, a speedster. Very versatile player, can go up and high point the football. Jalen Reagor, his vertical leaping ability is tremendous. And he is just perfect for this kind of day and age passing in the NFL with smaller corners. Reagor, I'm a big fan of. I would actually put Reagor over Henry Ruggs because Reagor is just a more versatile player. There's more skills in the tool set there from a wide receiver standpoint. But again, it's hard to go wrong with there's so many. There are a lot of great receivers out there. Like Benjamin Victor's even a pretty good receiver. Jeudy, we mentioned, CeeDee Lamb, Henry. So we have mentioned like the top dogs: Justin Jefferson, James Prochet. There is a lot of great choices. Michael Pittman, like a round 3. Van Jefferson in round 3. I think Pittman is going to go in round 3. Anyway, it looks like it's snowing here. The fan coming in to the podcast. But anyhow, I think that we were talking about the Giants draft picks, and for some reason, it's not even that easy to get the draft picks for the New York Giants. So the Giants, they have round 2, number 36 overall, and they also have a third round or a fourth, so we're good. So round 2, 36 overall is absolutely great. Okay. So basically, right here on the show, I'm actually going to, with the recording, I'm going to try to split this up into 2 recordings. So thank you guys for listening on YouTube right now to the Giants, what the Giants should do in the upcoming draft.